to Chill Time with Jose. I am your host, Jose, and we've got no guest, nothing like that on today as well. And, well, let's just start it up with probably, a happy note. Let's start with a happy note. Basically, little_arty. She's a artist and Sims 4 streamer at the moment. And they won this. Okay, they were the people who won the competition today. It was announced, I think it was yesterday or today. I'm not terribly too sure. And, I'd spoken to DMs, congratulated them, stuff like that. And funnily enough, they gave me a clip of when they actually won the thing. So, gonna be quite a little interesting here. I gotta make sure I'm not in the way. I am in the way. And also...
Oh!
That was not meant to happen. But that was. There we go. And it'll put me out the way. But yeah, this is a... little thing, like they won the competition, and it says when they won the competition, this might be a bit loud, by the way.
I just won a headset, guys. We just won a headset. Thanks to the Series ANZ. If you're watching this, yeah, please just thank you. That's pretty awesome.
So yeah, that's when they just won a headset. And I've got to say, like, I enjoy giving stuff out. I really do, and I really, really enjoy seeing the reactions of it as well. And, that's kind of like how, like, a lot of stuff happens, like, good stuff happens. Like, when you, like, sitting down in the dumps, you're like, oh, okay, I'm just working hard. And then, just basically a curveball comes out of you. That's what happened kind of there as well. And congratulations to Little Artie for winning one of these headsets as well. It's still Series headset. But that, kind of came out of me as well. Like, out of left field, basically with, being in MDL and stuff like that. Becoming a person who could broadcast MDL. The Steel Series partnership, came still out of that as well. And I'm glad, I can give something to someone. Also, not to mention, they had everything to do with Steel Series but a headset. So they can get Steel Series headset now as well. And, well, let's get on to, CSGO pretty much. I'm happy to give that out. But CSGO is a bit of a different scene, as you guys can see here. So, Poise is going to miss IM Global Challenge. Probably really disheartening, to be honest, where a team has to replace a player due to, emergency surgery. And that's not a good thing to hear, especially in this day and age. There's been no update on what he had or what happened to him. What it is. Jason Lake was pretty upset. They lost the 22-year-old sniper. And they might return to NATO Safex, I'm going to say. They may return to NATO Safex, but I'm not entirely too sure. But I'm not sure where NATO Safex is either, but they do need an AWPer now. And just in case you guys are wondering, NATO Safex is, he can be said AWPer. He's got no team at the moment. But I'm not entirely too sure on what will occur. Let me just check for you something, guys. Okay, cool. And yeah. So he's been hospitalized, expected to recover, blah, blah, blah. And this is like really bad timing for Complexity, who've already had roster issues with Obo leaving while they've been in Europe, and now they've got one of the AWPers down for the count, which is not down for the count, but hospitalized, which is, I can tell you now, like, not ideal. They still have JKS, and I reckon NaSafeX might step in again as the AWPer. Depends on what will happen. But yeah, not a good start at all. Next up, we've got, so, just in case you guys have been wondering, the NA scene, I talked about this last week as well, the NA scene is in a fucking dire strait at the moment. Like, it's pretty bad in the NA scene. Where I think Chaos left being the main team in the MDL, I think it's going to be the first time where there's more non-aligned teams than org teams in the MDL. And actually would have been the first time that all of the MDL teams that were relegated or in relegation were swept. But unfortunately, Kinship managed to keep their spot. And it was actually going to be kind of crazy because it would have been the first season that all 4 MDL teams would have been dropped into Advanced. But fortunately, only 3 of them were, and one of them lived in the end. And so Orange Schools there announced on Twitter saying that ESL wanted to improve the situation for the NA teams. I have no idea what NA improve is. I'm not sure what the qualifying opportunities are either. And I'm not sure what ESA plan to do as well. Now, just in case you guys are wondering why they're doing this, is because Valorant is kicking CSGO's ass in America. And I'm just going to say now, it's probably going to mostly do with defranchising the league. People kept telling me that Valorant had more sponsorship. We compared it. Valorant and CSGO have similar sponsorship. We compared, the salaries I think it was no. I don't think it was the salaries. It was the game itself and being marketed, advertised. It's like no, it's pretty much the same. And yeah, like, you know, it's very, very similar between Valorant and CSGO, like with the sponsorships. And then, like, the only thing we really talked about was probably the franchising as well. Like, you know, these orgs are probably all getting in there because if they get into the franchise league, then they can't possibly lose their spots of buy-in, and it's auto profit maker. But, you know, that ESL's trying to get teams and orgs to really commit to the Pro League. And I think what's going to happen here is if they realistically want to get a few orgs in, they're going to have to promise exclusivity, I guess, because these NA orgs won't bite. Like, these NA orgs just want exclusivity, and that's it. There was actually a rumor ages ago where they were going to say Valve's making this exclusive lead, and now people are starting to think it's made up by the NA orgs because that's what they want. They don't want to manage their team. They just want an easy way to make profit for being in that, you know, exclusive area. Now, so basically, just in case you guys are wondering, there's only 10 orgs, I believe, in the MDL ESL Pro League. There's basically 100 Thieves, E United, Chaos, and New England Whalers have either left the scene or ceased esports due to Corona, or, you know, they've gone to Valorant instead, namely 100 Thieves, I think E United, I think Chaos even have a Valorant roster. I know New England Whalers don't, they closed up. And, you know, it's just kind of weird, like, how this has really occurred with the NA scene, where, like, a lot of the NA players just switch to Valorant just like that. Like, pretty much you've got, I gotta say, probably about 4 or 5 ex-CSGO rosters of players that were in MDL now going to the going to Valorant. And as I said before, it caused a massive hole in the NA scene, and also a massive lack of development as well, because a lot of players aren't going to get mentored unless, you know, in CSGO, because the other guys have moved to Valorant. Now, I really don't understand why they've moved to Valorant, other than the fact they're probably getting 3 times their salary there as well, because of a potential exclusivity spot within a Riot franchise league if they decide to go with it. And I've said this before, I just, you know, if Riot decide to not go for it, then they've kind of done this for nothing. And I think a lot of the orgs may know that Riot might be doing it for Valorant. So this is what ESL's trying to do. ESL's got to be, like, I don't like things that are on the never, okay? I don't like those kind of things where they don't exactly say what they're going to do, because it just makes me feel like they're just doing this to say we're doing something, hooray. So I'm not entirely too sure what's going to happen. I probably will reach out on what they want effectively for NA. I think the horse is kind of bolted in the situation because there's so many MDL talent that's now in Valorant. Valorant actually held their first strike event, and they got a lot of viewership. I'm not entirely too sure if that viewership was from embeds on launches and stuff like that. And people are saying, oh, it's outdone CSGO, but you want to check that viewership, because if it's embedded in any site or any launcher, then the viewership's actually not there. And it could be basically not fake viewership, but, you know, just padded up viewership. And, you know, I'm not taking anything away from Valorant as being a new competitor or anything like that. You just want to make sure that the viewership is actually real. Now, a lot of people as well a bit critical of the matchmaking system, I've noticed, for Valorant as well, where a lot of teams, I think it's just CSGO syndrome personally, where they, like, rage at how bad Valorant matchmaking is and stuff like that. But I think people raging, you know, about that since in the CSGO scene as well. Funnily enough, though, CSGO has actually had its highest amount of concurrent players of 1.1 mil, mainly due to no operation, of course. But yeah, basically the NA scene needs to revive desperately. I am not sure what ESL could have done. Could have ESL done anything for, you know, realistically? Could they have done anything realistically for Chaos? Like, Chaos's team is very, very good. You're going to see those 5 players who, you know, have been in a lot of good teams, like MIBR, for example, most likely find their way into Valorant, because at the end of the day, these guys got to get paid. Like, you know, they got to get bills on the table and stuff like that. And, well, you know, if there's nothing in CSGO, well, they're going to have to go elsewhere to other games. Like, a lot of people had to do that. Like, for example, we're doing now Steel, AZK, Prax, Techstar, Tux, because just in case you guys are wondering, they're all VAC banned. And obviously, they're never going to stay in the major, so why have this little hindrance on you when you can just go to Valorant instead, where you don't have that hindrance on you? Now, as well, there's been a, you know, let's just get up to the last part, okay? because I'll just sidetrack myself if I don't. But anyways, so just in case you guys are wondering, what happened was that basically Blast, if you guys didn't notice, that Blast actually didn't start on time. And that was the fact that CSPPA decided to run a strike, an auto player strike, and didn't start the game until, I think, a bit later. I'm not totally too sure how long the strike went on for. And so essentially what happened was that they're protesting about the recording, the storing, the sharing of voice communications. So understandably, yes, you want to know what the hell's going on with the comms and stuff like that. And are they being stored, and are they being stored to, you know, the right standards? That's 100% correct. Blast have said that they have been resolved already. And Blast have no idea why this is coming up again. The group claims that issues regarding the storing, blah, blah, blah. Have you missed anything? Not really. You've only missed a few parts, not too much. So basically the team CEOs have all worked and working with together to ensure that all player needs pertaining blah, blah, blah. Basically, G2 Liquid, as a result of all these partnerships between these parties, Blast resolved the issues raised around the usage of voice comms on the 23rd of November. So they struck this week, and they went on strike about it. I'm not entirely too sure why, considering Blast was resolved. And just in case you're wondering why Blast are recording and stuff like that, is because of the stream sniping stuff, which will come up next. So what happens was that ESIC recommended all the tournaments to have webcams like we see here, and to, you know, have webcams around the room. So if you can see someone watching the stream, we can see someone watching the stream, because basically what happened is that, as you guys may know from the infamous clip of Steel and Dead, was that Dead was watching the Blast stream when he shouldn't have been, basically. So essentially, the statement is replied to the protest launched by CSPPA. So basically, CSPPA launched a protest, and basically players denied Blast access to voice and video recordings due to concern of privacy and PC performance. It quickly became a heated topic of discussion, led the match between Vitality and Mouse, starting 3 hours late. And the party was settled. Blast after discussed the matter with CSPPA, Chris J, who wrote on Twitter, according to CSPPA, took a stance, blah, blah, blah. Blast kind of discussed. By response, 14 August became CSPPA didn't follow the proper channels when addressing the issue. We found out why CSPPA are involved, trying to raise concerns with an already resolved issue without a knowledge of any previous communications, the team said. Just in case you guys wondering, these are the teams saying it, not Blast, the teams. The group teams urged both community players to raise the concerns through the proper channel so it can continue to improve play conditions inside and outside the game. HLTV org knows that one of the changes implemented by Blast following feedback on the teams is that the desk town no longer has access to TeamSpeak. In its statement, the CSPPA said, were shared with analysts and others, which led to sensitive tactical information and personal info being shared among people in the community. That's kind of a concern, okay? That's kind of a concern. And I think one of those changes were done through the org meeting. One of the teammates speaking on the condition of anomaly lashed out at CPA, saying that the associate's goal is to create chaos by putting players and organizations against each other. The person also called for CSPPA to be stopped for the sake of Counter-Strike landscape. I'm not sure who this person is. It's an anonymous source. With anonymous sources, you gotta treat them like, you know, just at arm's length as well. Because sometimes it can be the author trying to write their opinion in, and then they write in anonymous source. That's, you know, that's a cynical approach to it, but that's a possibility. I'm not saying that person's wrong or anything like that. I'm saying that's a possibility. True dangers behind CSPPA not rooted in integrated good. The team owner told whatever. They want commercial profits for their own pockets, and they make that happen through opportunities they create by dismantling functioning systems around them. The methods used by people involved have been well documented in other sports for many years, but the industry like esports doesn't know about this. It's their perfect environment. It's about creating divide and conflict. Them v us. The true org wouldn't do any of those things. They would certainly not act as agents, and operate transparently, collaboratively with an open agenda, what they are trying to accomplish, so we can enter productive dialogue. All stakeholders together and players will be proud members. Now, player breaks, world rankings, all the playing we already evaluate and negotiate on a hunting basis. This system has not changed in any way. So one of the team owners is saying that, and I'm going to suspect the team owner could be someone who's been aggrieved by CSPPA previously. So take it for what it will, but it could also be the author's opinion. But then again, it's Lewis Mira, and Lewis Mira is generally very, very good at, you know, getting journalist facts. He doesn't put his opinion to pieces. So I'm willing to give it more of a, you know, trustable source. CSPPA has not changed in any way. They have no actual interest making things better. That's their style. Confusion, misinformation, use whatever they can to create chaos, then get the community on board like a PR spin. They're up to no good and need to be stopped, so genuine entities can exist and bring esports into the mainstream. But you also got to realize as well, since this is a team owner, team owners may not like player unions, okay? Like sometimes it's like big business and unions. They may not like each other at times. So any time to give a whack to each other, they might. So you got to understand that as well. Like this is a team owner saying it. Like, it may not be the most unbiased of things, but we'll take a look at it here. So just in case you guys are wondering, why the blast and the strike happened was because of this. So basically, that should be closed because you guys shouldn't be seeing DMs. But anyway, you guys don't see them anyway. So ESIC, what happened was that stream sniping occurred. So basically, it was basically the dead stream sniping. They were originally going to go ban MIBR according to Richard Lewis. And then MIBR told them that everyone else was doing it basically, or some people teams were doing it. And ESIC were like, oh crap, like it's a lot more than meets the eye here. So as you can see here, numerous of allegations in May to June. Basically zero tolerance. And yeah, like essentially like basically not to only like ESIC released also things as well to basically state like, okay, we want delays of 3 minutes. And it's going to hit me quite hard as a caster because I'm going to have a 3-minute delay. I'm not going to be really able to talk my chat. I have to be completely and utterly mute during my current round. And I can't talk about what the buys and timeouts could be about either. So yeah, so another thing as well, this is number 4. This is one they struck about, is that stored for at least 90 days following the match. Okay, that's GDPR. If you guys don't know what that is, it's General Data Protection in Europe. I think it is General Protection. I don't know. But either way, it's a law and guideline in Europe they got to adhere by, and that could be an issue, number 4. And assuming that's what the players wanted to know about is how is that being handled, because there's personal and sensitive data in that, such as tactical callouts and stuff like that. So pretty much what happened is that ESIC received a lot of ghosting across the ecosystem. It lost everyone. And basically, they said that there was a lot of people doing it. And if they were all true, which could be, then ESIC would be in a whole bunch of trouble. Because if ESIC could kill the scene overnight if they banned everyone, okay? And it was widespread in online matches. Sorry guys if it's blurry. But it's just like... So just in case, they tell you here, they didn't want to ban them all, because if they did, they would have killed the scene overnight. So they were saying this stream sniping practice was so widespread that if they did anything about it, it would kill the scene overnight. My opinion, they should have gone out with fines. Okay, like gone out with fines right away, fine the team some of their winnings. Or if they didn't have any winnings, just find the money, get them, donate to charity. That's my opinion. That's what they should have done. And be like, after this, you are subject to the TO. Which, what's happened was basically... Let me just bring the tweet up here with Flashpoint. So let's bring it up here. So this is what happened here, okay? Flashpoint did it. There you go. I'll be coming to that post later, 3 letters, okay? I'll be coming to that later. But as you can see, Flashpoint did it. This is the current thing I reckon, TO should do. And be like, you do it again, you're going to get DQ'd. Like, Flashpoint's gone a step further, saying that you'll be completely disqualified if you watch the stream again. Which is 100% correct. Just, sometimes you might have to DQ them. Just be like, ESIC have told you stop doing it. Fine, then DQ. And the thing is, they lost $10,000, as you guys can see here. $10,000 fine. And I think that's what ESIC said. ESIC said, it's not on us. TOs, you get your stuff together, and you start issuing out the fines. And maybe they can fund ESIC with some of these fines as well. Okay, maybe they can fund ESIC with some of these fines as well. Just it's kind of what ASIC does in Australia, okay, with companies. Like when ASIC fines you, it's basically funding themselves, essentially. But that can also lead to a scenario where basically there's fines for really tiny, minuscule things where they're just using it to fill out the coffers as well. But I don't think this is one of the case. So basically, this is just a little outset of why the strike occurred between the players. Is that, you know, they were worried about GTVR things. Blast have said they sorted this out on the 23rd, and they actually contacted the players if they had any issues. The teams agreed, so I'm siding with Blast and the teams here. But then again, some of the teams have partnership agreements with Blast, so you got to be, you know, taking that considerations. The world is a grey and murky place sometimes, guys. So the truth can be somewhere in between, and you just, you know, you just got to weave through everything to really see that. Overall, I'm thinking I'm gonna be, you know, if I had to really pick a side, I think Blast and the teams are being honest. Like, they're being honest to it. And I think the players maybe be a bit dishonest in the way that they came with it. Or they must have, you know, like, when the teams communicated to them, they must have seen it a different way. Like, you know, that there's possibilities of that as well. Like, it's basically could be clear and innocent miscommunication. Like, the guys are like thinking, hang on, wait, we got a strats here. What if they get leaked out? And they didn't realize the teams had already, you know, talked about it, and they just basically went on strike for no reason. Now, there's a lot of cynical things as well, which we'll get to later. Just realized, which we'll get to later about what was discussed. But anyways, let's go for it. So basically, just in case you're wondering, is that Morrison, which is ironically enough, Morrison rears his head up. He puts up CSPPA's agreement. Okay, we'll get CSPPA's agreement a bit later because I do have it here, and it talks about the rights being signed to CSPPA for 5 years. The IP rights, no 6. Yeah, basically, as you can see here. Now, I'm not sure what CSPPA needs with image rights. Like, true question. CSPPA is a player union. So I'm not entirely too sure. But, you know, I'm not a lawyer and all that, but I'm just not sure what CSPPA needs to have with image rights, to be honest. Like, I don't think they need it. A player union is a player union. You represent the players, okay? You know, collective bargaining, stuff like that. You don't engage in agency and stuff like that. That's why it's, you know, kind of weird to me why image rights would be in there. Because when I signed my, you know, contract with my agent, there was image rights in there, 100%. That's why I was weirded out that, and also not to mention that the other thing that wasn't in that contract as well, according to Morrison, was that there's no way to get out of it. With my agency contract, there's a way to get out of it. Like, there's all ways to get out of it, of all normal agency contracts. Like, basically, you know, cancel by mutual agreement. It's general contract. So basically, Sadokist, he comes out from nowhere, and basically he starts sticking into CSPPA. Basically, this is just an ongoing little fight, but it starts between many different outlets and many different parties. So basically, he goes, you know, PAs, representative of the league, no longer stick up for the players, but bullied industry in your favor. This uses your powers downfall. So Sadokist is accusing CSPPA of basically bullying TOs to bow down to their will, effectively. And Sadokist listed, you know, list of transparency, where the funds go, how your influence it trickles out, and the motives of certain directors is your downfall. So he's saying that, you know, they're not actually, neutral. They're actually not representing the players' interests. They're representing just a tier 1 player's interest, basically. That's what they're trying to suggest. So basically, they respond with this. They don't provide anything really. So the same players have been seen to look up to the interest in a competitive game that relies on self-preservation. You don't see a conflict of that. There's no charity initiatives, no scholarship funds, no contribution to upcoming teams. That's actually a good point by Sadokist. Like, they need to help out all the teams. And this is a big one as well. This is what I'm shocked about, that no one has helped the team of Chaos. Okay? No one. So Chaos don't have a team, like the ex-Chaos boys. No one has decided to help them. Which I find insane, considering, like, their top 20 team. Now, I'm shocked because none of the orgs who are all in Valorant want to pick it up. Secondly, no one in the ESL Pro League space or anything like that want to keep them in NA playing CSGO. I'm just shocked that nobody wants to pick them up. Like, they beat MIBR. They beat, you know, a lot of, like, up-and-coming teams. Like, I am so confused. Like, I could not be any more confused about how this team's not being, you know, Cal's been picked up. And, you know, that's exactly like, I agree with Sadakist there. Like, how? How has no one helped them? It's not just CSPPA's fault, to be honest. I think it's the scene overall. You know, it's everyone's fault. Like, even my fault, okay? Fact of the matter is, without a set league system, nothing determines who qualifies as a member of then who you say, which is the issues begun. It's a control move. A cost breakdown should be a bare minimum of things you have to disclose publicly. Yeah, I'm actually a bit shocked about this, that they don't disclose their things, because most unions do disclose, like, what money was spent on and stuff like that with their accounts. So, you know, basically Sadakist is like, enough's enough, blah, blah, blah. You've aligned yourself with profits in mind. You aren't even using those to help scene for every player in mind. Get your stuff together and wash your hands and fix it. The PA works every day, dude, man. This is like, I'm going to tell you now, this is like typical, like, corporate bullshit, okay? Like, I'm going to call it out. That is typical corporate, you know, kind of stonewalling, okay? Like, I'm going to say that it is corporate stonewalling. It's not legit communication. Like, it's just trying to, like, say to the person, nah, we do this, we do that, and stuff like that. I just don't think, you know, whoever's tweeting from this or anything like that, I just don't think it's really from good faith. Like, guys, we got to work together. That's why Sadakist is asking, like, what's happening? What's going on? We don't know. So, Seaside, Keith, he chimes in. And I think that's a bit of a conclusion, you know? And then basically Davey chimes in. I think I can confirm, as I've talked to below tier 1, even teams tier 1, I've never been asked for any decisions or elect representatives. So basically Davey's in the scene and he said, CSPPA have never talked to us. Kind of concerning. So this is what I don't get. Okay, he asked, you have no issue providing a fiscal report, highlighting all the good things you've done and you're working towards? Corporate answer. Like, seriously. Corporate answer. Stop answering via corporate. Okay. I can't believe I have to say this. Like, they're just answering like a corporation. They're not answering like a union. They're operating they're operating like a goddamn corporation at this point. Okay? Like, they're operating like one. Like, they're trying to like smoke bomb people, you know, so people don't know what's going on, which is, I'm going to tell you now, which is really odd for a play union to do. Okay? Really, really odd for a play union to do. Let's keep going. Right, Danish law, Danish entity representing a global population. Got it. Let's use that dated legal argument against the get out free jail card. Like, come on, guys. This has been the fucking biggest problem in CSGO, is our lack of goddamn ethics. Lack of goddamn ethics has been the biggest issue in our CSGO scene. There's never, like, consideration of, like, you know, this will kill the scene overall if I don't report this. It is all, oh, I can use this bug to get a bit of money in those tournaments and win. It's a lack of fucking ethics that's killing CSGO. Okay? Real lack of ethics. Like, it's absolutely killing it. Like, it's not just to players, it's also to casters and stuff like that as well. Like, you know, it goes from the talent to the players to the TOs to the teams to everyone. It's just a real lack of ethics from everyone involved. And I've seen some casters, you know, players, talent as well, have a severe lack of ethics. Okay? Severe lack of ethics when dealing with people. And yeah, like, you know, severe lack of ethics while they're, you know, basically having embeds into their stream, like basically contacting people to directly embed to their streams that have a higher view count on HLTV. That's not an unknown secret. That's a known secret. Some casters deliberately make sure they're number one HLTV just before the game goes live. Okay, about 5 minutes before the game goes live, they go top of HLTV and they get all the viewership. Okay, like, I've seen people do that. And then after, you know, they've got, you know, let's just say they got a 500 viewer buff on the next person, they take out the embed, they go down a bit, but they're still number one HLTV. I've seen that being done so many times, especially to some of the games I've casted. And I'm sitting there going like, I'm seeing the same thing happen again. Same caster's doing it. You know, he's doing it again. He's magically gets 200 viewers. Then he gets, you know, 1K because, you know, he's the top streamer on HLTV. Then suddenly the people, go down a bit, and he's still got top viewership because he was on top of HLTV first. There's a lot of unethical practices going on. Like, it's not the top tier casters or anything like that. They don't need to do it. It's in that tier 2 scene what everyone's concerned about. I'm not going to say I don't think I'm the only legit caster in the scene, because I'm not. There's a few other guys out there that are legit, that are good, and that are trying very, very hard. And they may not be, a fan favorite yet, or may not have a name for themselves, but they do a good job, and they're honest about it. And maybe they don't, maybe they don't like me because I do get a lot of viewers and stuff like that, when I cast. But at the end of the day, that's what happens at times. Like, if I cast consistently, and I cast most games, people are going to know me a lot more. And I do work really, really hard. I think anyone can probably say that I work incredibly hard, on my casting and stuff like that. I work incredibly hard. I do multiple games. I've done multiple BO3s, BO1s, back to back to back on open and close qualifiers. I've even covered multiple games at the same time. Like, went to another game straight after to just cast that for a bit. And players as well. Some players are unethical as well. Man, look at the coaching bug, for example. How many coaches got banned with the coaching bug, and not one of them put their hand up, be like, hang on, guys, this is not right. Stream sniping, not one person put up, hey, guys, this ain't right. It's an ethics problem in CSGO, in the esports scene. Big ethics problem. Okay? And it gets worse and gets worse and gets worse, because people they try to rationalize it, being like, oh, he did it, so I can do it too. We got to have the same edge, instead of just blowing the whistle, getting it out. And, like, I don't think some of these people don't realize, like, how many opportunities there wrecks for people, how many potential sponsors could be like, this sport sounds a bit fixed. These guys are all a bunch of riggers. Let's get it out. Let's get out of here. Like, it's, not legitimate. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. I don't want to lose, I was going to say lose my job as a caster. Kind of hard when you don't have a job as a caster, of course. But I don't want to lose my hobby of being a caster in CSGO. Like, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose, ESL. I don't want to lose Faceit. I don't want to lose any of these guys that I cast for. That, games I cast off, the teams and stuff like that. So it's going to be taking a real concerted effort from all the players, all the teams. Put your cards out there. If you've done anything bad thing, put your hands up. Maybe a amnesty or a fine or something like that, to be like, yep, you put your hand up now. You work towards the betterment of ethics. You got to, think to it. When you are promoting good ethics to either, tiers below you or anything like that, like, you got to put a community effort, put a target there as well. And let's see if we can, like, salvage the scene. Now, not salvage the scene. I don't think the scene's dead. See if we can make it a lot better than it is currently at the moment. Anyways, that's probably a bit of a side topic. They talk a bit more here. Chris J, basically, Semler got really, really angry because Semler is a blast caster, just in case you're wondering. Stacks of players are boycotting a 400k USD tournament over a non-issue because they've been told by a bunch of leeching losers who are trying to justify the paycheck somehow. So Semler was probably under the indication that they knew about it, like, as in, like, they knew this had been resolved. And this little, war between Sadikis and all that stuff started beginning. Chris J is a AWPA for Mouse, I believe, Mouse Sports. And this is how it really started. Now, let's talk about CSPPA, okay? Because this is what, like, a lot of, one person in particular, Richard Lewis, got a bit up in arms about CSPPA, because he says CSPPA's concerns are legit. He does agree with him about that. He's 100% behind the players for making sure that their tactics aren't, mentioned out. But he's a bit more cynical on CSPPA's motives behind it, because just in case you guys don't know, Blast and CSPPA are, I think, it's the only teams that don't have an agreement. Only TO and PlayerOrg that doesn't have an agreement, because I know Flashpoint and CSPPA do. I know ESL and CSPPA do. But Blast and CSPPA do not. So this is a bit of a weird one, okay? So they did it at a Blast event because they know they do not have an agreement with, maybe, I'm not sure. But that's what someone was suggesting, okay? That's what Richard was suggesting. I don't think there's any truth in it. I'm not sure. I can't confirm it. Can't deny it either. But that's what's happened. So Richard Lewis got a bit cynical. I gotta say, he got a bit cynical about it because it was quite cynical. Maybe it is the truth. Maybe it's not. We don't know. He's probably a lot closer to he's probably got his ear closer to the ground. So it's probably more correct, I assume. Like, he's got his ear closer to the ground. He probably knows a lot. He knows the guys a lot more than I do. Because, I'm more of a pariah compared to where Richard's in the scene. So he suggested, why didn't CSPA strike over this? So just in case you guys are wondering, basically ESL reduced their Pro League to half, okay? And CSPA's response was that, business as usual, they had to do it and save business. And I gotta tell you now, a lot of teams weren't happy about this, okay? Namely, let's take a look at ESL, Europe Regulation 10, okay? You may notice a few teams here, okay? I did talk about this ages ago when it happened. Okay, so let's talk about the ESL Pro League. Okay, this is the relegation for EU. 3 players go to ESL Pro League, okay? Hey, you know something? Optic's dead. Arky's dead. Windigo's dead. So if this occurred, instead of, the thing halving, Sprout, Havu, and Spirit would be in MDL. Not MDL, so would be in ESL Pro League. But what happened was they cut all the teams, so Sprout, Havu, and Team Spirit were no longer in ESL Pro League, which they would have qualified for. Now, this is a real kick in the guts for Havu, because if you look back to this, guess who's here? And by the way, ENCE weren't even in advance. By the way, ENCE had forfeited their MDL, forfeited all of MDL the season before, because it was the first season I was casting. I was like, I'll be casting some ENCE. And ENCE forfeited their season to pursue competitions, because this is when they were in form. And I'm just going to say that this is a real kick in the guts for Havu. And when I said we had Havu forfeited all our matches, I'm like, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. ESL just literally just kicked them in the guts. They stabbed them in the guts and then turned a knife by giving ENCE the spot. And Havu is really struggling now. These decisions actually affect teams. And these are things that CSPA should be, well, not up in arms and stopping ESL Pro League from, doing what they want. But they should be actually talking to, ESL Pro League on how can we make this workable where 24 teams don't lose the ESL Pro League spot. You get what I mean? Because even Big lost the ESL Pro League spot. Big and Hellraisers were forced down back to the Mount Dew League as well. Okay, don't remember that. Big got put back up immediately because I'll tell you now, Big were way too good for MDL. It's kind of like Sprout as well. They're way too good for MDL. And I feel like there could have been a compromise there, a decent compromise where teams can play ESL Pro League. It could have been a compromise. But that wasn't talked about by CSPA. CSPA just left it to the side and didn't want to talk about it. It was kind of, we agree with ESL, blah, 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 which is, something that you should potentially strike for. Doesn't mean you have to, but, you need to talk to ESL Pro League because you've got teams like Havu, Sprout, Big. They according to the GM of Sprout and Big, they contacted CSPA many times, didn't get much of an answer. They contacted the community at large. They didn't get much of an answer. I think I did talk about it. It was a bit very, very unfortunate that those teams were getting relegated. I was shocked when Big was being relegated to MDL. I'm like, Big shouldn't be in MDL. They're too good. And the team I felt for the most, obviously, was Havu. Because Havu, based just against you guys now, Havu, they went to Flashpoint. They didn't do so well there. And now half their team is going to ENCE, basically. And Havu, Zori, he's got to fill in his ranks of Havu once again and rebuild. And Havu have nothing now. Because, they're back. They forfeited MDL, so they had to start from ESL Open. And Havu's gambit kind of failed there. And it was kind of, dictated by the ESL Pro League changing. And ENCE being picked up over Havu, which is... And not to mention, ENCE is a partners team as well. And I'm going to say, I just feel so bad for Havu because they've like I tell you now, they've literally been screwed over. They've been unbelievably screwed over with ESL Pro League changing it. The next one I'm going to talk about is Jumpy. So CSPA have now acted, by the way, but before they hadn't really intervened with I think it's Dreams or something like that. I'm not too sure. And Yumpy being banned, and not to mention that Valve also admit that Yumpy hasn't been banned, but it's just got a VAC banned account. I think that's something you got to stick your noses into, CSPA, because Yumpy is a player. You're meant to be representing the players. This is the one where you're meant to get your shining armor out and your swords and be charging. Because if Valve admit he hadn't been cheating, and he can't go to majors because he's got VAC ban, but Valve said he wasn't the one cheating, then that's a bit of a contradiction, ain't it? Bit of a contradiction. That's the one you're meant to be, striking over. But you said you choose a blast thing to strike over. without talking to your teams, because your teams talked about it. They resolved it. Solved all your concerns. That's what Richard's getting a bit cynical about. Is that's the thing you put your, that's the thing you put your heel to die on. Is that, but not any of the ESL Pro League or any of the other changes and anything like that. It kind of makes you think. It's just like player union. Guys, you gotta find your real objectives and real goals. Is, making sure that players are treated fairly by teams from tier 1 to tier 99. Okay? That's who you're meant to be taking care of, not tier 1. Tier 99, the amateurs. Because the amateurs are your lifeblood of your industry, okay? Because by the time you guys are old and retired, well, not old and retired, but, when you're here near into age, that tier 2 scene, that tier 3 scene, we're reducing the next crop of the sports stars that may replace you in the player association. So if you're going to lead by a poor example by only bettering yourself, what do you think is going to fucking happen when they get up to that position? I mean, you don't really have to guess, do you? Okay, you really don't have to guess what's going to happen. So let's talk about Richard. Okay, Richard, he did a big stream about this right after CSPPA Blast happened. And this is a very, 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 very long transcript that I highly recommend. I think Free Letters linked it. But go through there. So basically, he goes through all the issues I talked about before, stream sniping, stuff like that. Richard said that it apparently top 10, probably 10 out of 15 teams would have been suspended for 9 to 12 months. And basically writes, watching this, really, really happy that that they're watching this and rubbing their hands of glee. Richard doesn't want Riot as a competitor because he knows what happens when Riot turns things into an esport. They just basically be like, you do it our way or license goes. Mainly because Richard did suffer under the effect of Riot. Because Richard, just in case you guys are wondering, Richard was at a StarCraft 2 tournament doing a broadcast, and basically League of Legends doing a broadcast somewhere else. And Riot asked DreamHack to say that Richard's not hosting, or we don't host a tournament here. And, kind of stuff as well. He also talks about the match fixing that's been going on. Apparently it's widespread, according to Richard. I'm not sure. He's got logs of it as well. He hasn't produced logs of it. Given that Richard hasn't been really wrong in the past, I'll probably give it 90 to 99% that it may have occurred. And I don't know who's involved at all. But yeah, basically, he said some of the scumbags have moved over to Valorant, and this could also kill Valorant as well. So kind of overall, this thing to really get this ethical standard in is also spreading around to Valorant. And I think esports could be running the ground if these guys keep, fixing matches and stuff like that. Like if the scumbags that are in the scene are allowed to keep on operating. And I think a lot of people who know these scumbags operating have got proof need to blow that whistle really loud, because you're not going to have an esports scene if you let these guys fester and fest other esports. As much as I don't want Riot to succeed, I'm well aware if Riot doesn't succeed and it's due to match fixing and it starts spreading elsewhere, I'm not going to have anything to come back to. So, pretty much it. And that's not saying I'm going to go to Valorant. I'm just saying, in general, CSGO could go down as well. Could be like everyone gets dragged down with it. So basically, he does question who does the union really, really serve. He points out that, Yumpy and Dreamer. Oh, it was Dream, not Dream. Dream is the Minecraft streamer. Dreamer, he says ESL and CSPPA paid to CSPPA and are racketeering and many other TOs to pay to get their seal of approval. If this is true, this is really, really bad, because this happened to a lot of maritime unions as well, where you do not get a job unless you sign up the union. And this is just that kind of argument, but with the TOs. He also points out they will strike against any competitor they are not in agreement with. Flashpoint, according to Flashpoint. It's what it says about every other time you haven't done it. So, yeah, exactly. I do kind of agree with that. We discussed these two issues before. They ignored these as well. Also, I forgot to mention the NA scene as well during that. Just in case you're wondering, Triumph, Riot Squad, and Swole Patrol did not get their promotions they would have gotten in NA CSGO as well. Actually, it would have been between Riot Squad and Triumph, I think it was. Oh, no, actually, no. It would have been Swole Patrol v Riot Squad, and then a loser v Triumph for an ESL Pro League spot. And as you can see here, you're looking at the teams, Soul Patrol, they're all moved on now. Fraud's in Valorant. That's Brax, he's in Valorant. Neptune's in Valorant. Caboose, I think he plays for Gen G at the moment, I believe. So yeah, Cloud9's gone. I think this is Complexity. Now look at this, okay? PTR, he's gone. Mitch, gone. Crashy's in Valorant. Weber, not sure. John G in Chaos. Take a look at Triumph. Exceed, gone. Voltage, gone. Spongy, gone. Snakes, gone. Grim, Team Liquid. MCE, gone. Like, when you look at this, like, a lot of these guys were directly affected by the ESL Pro League changes, yet CSPPA didn't say anything. And, like, CSPPA got to come clean about this, about why they didn't say anything about it or what they did to represent the players in this. Because, like, if you look in the EU here, like, you know, Big and Hellraisers were, you know, relegated. They relegated 6 teams in EU. And they relegated, I think, all the South American teams. Weber's a Valorant player now. Okay. You know, there's a lot of teams in here. Like, ADK, for example. Like, I think they became Cloud9 in the end. Like, as you can see here, like, a lot of these teams were just dropped out altogether. I don't think there's any unfairities in the NA system, to be honest. Like, I don't think there's any unfairities at all. Like, similar to a Ensign Harvu kind of thing. Like, I don't think there's anything like that. But, you know, it's the opportunity. Like, Fraud was really, really pissed off about it. I think Fraud got very angry about it. I think I even highlighted his tweet that Fraud was very, very pissed off about it because he got no notice. And no one was coming in to help him. Like, they, you know, kind of thing. So then we talk about the Valve. So basically knows that Jumper, Dreamer to have his account lacked. This is the thing, like, they didn't go to help Dreamer and Yumpy, who have legitimate concerns, given the fact that one had their account hacked and the other one wasn't playing it. And Valve have admitted both of these cases and haven't done anything about it. We have a lot of tier players who that operate impunity that do not help tier 2 or tier 3 players out. If you're not tier 1 player, you do not matter. Don't even ask your opinion. Davey has said he's never been asked his opinion. I'm a bit surprised that Davey has not been asked for his opinion. Davey's a tier 1 veteran. He's been a caster before. I think, guys, you got to reach out to some of, you know, the elder players and stuff like that. Like, you know, they do know more about the scene and stuff like that. And they're probably, you know, in the background of the orgs as well. And it's not their first radio. He tells Chris J to admit and know the fact that he didn't speak up during ESL Pro League debacle because it didn't affect him. Yeah, just in case you're wondering, it didn't affect Mouse at all. I don't think you can really just squeeze it out. And yeah, that is a good question. That's the question I'm trying to get at. Okay. If you're looking up to some players at the expense of the others, how is that a union? Because you're not representing the players' interests at all. He says Blast System, yeah, I agree with that, okay? And this is what I don't get either. Like, they blamed Blast for it. But, you know, it's basically on ESIC guidelines. And I feel like CSPPA shouldn't be beefing with ESIC either. Like, I don't, like, apparently the real enemy is ESIC according to them. I don't think CSPPA should be beefing with ESIC because ESIC's the 100% reason why their little sport is having these people who are hacking and cheating and match fixing are being banned and not allowed to operate. And the funny thing is that it's actually the team ownership, okay? Just in case you're wondering, okay? Because the teams sold that right to Blast. It wasn't Blast who are responsible, it's your teams that are responsible. And yeah. So just in case you're wondering as well, yeah, and MIBR, there was players and owners in both teams, and CSPPA didn't say anything about it. The conflict of interest with yeah and MIBR. And also another thing they talk about is image rights. I am not versed in image rights. So basically, just in case you're wondering, there's 10 separate parties. Image rights are worthless, no brand, rip. Says Scoots, he always pops off at anyone who criticizes CSPPA. Like, I've noticed that. And, you know, we actually don't have that. Also, the rankings to CSPPA, yeah, they are a joke. MIBR being 8th after losing to Whistler Cacao. Really? As I said, as soon as they lost to Copenhagen Flames, I'm like, MIBR shit. Like, MIBR's done. Like, they gotta change something quick. Because they're losing to teams that are tier 2, tier 3. And someone lists them as number 8? Holy crap. How? So, ESIC, okay. So, let's talk about ESIC. Okay, so Richard talks about ESIC. Says that Ian Smith, who's the founder of ESIC, done work in mainstream. He's doing appeals, make sure the punishments are fair. He does, you know, essentially pretty much it. I actually got told by one of the Australian guys today who've been done for 12 months of betting is an appeal cost $250, okay? And I did talk about on Twitter and just saying, like, that's pretty cheap compared to paying a lawyer. That's going to be like $600 an hour. So, and I also told him as well that $250 is a deterrent. It's a deterrent to make sure that when you put that money up, that your appeal is ironclad and you're not wasting people's time. That's the entire reason it's up there. And they basically said, you know, oh, it's just up there so ESIC can get money. It's like, yeah, because if you waste ESIC's time, they're wasting money too because they could be working on something else. They're not exactly, you know, this big multi-conglomerate that's investigating cheating 24/7. They only have 6 people in their staff. So basically, ESIC is a tiny organization. They apparently don't run a grift like CSPPA did, saying you want your support and you want players to turn up, you better pay us. They didn't do that. They had startup money from MTG. Just in case you wonder who MTG is, it's ESL. Basically, Ian said the money given by MTG was nothing more than startup money and would not be in debt to them, okay? He basically said, that's all you're getting, okay? And then basically with other TOs he sat down with, and they weren't a part of MTG, they didn't want to partner with ESIC because they called them ESL spies. I think this is the hilarious part. Oh, boy. To be fair, these things are happening in 2018 and 19, as an FYI, guys. Like, this is just kind of simmering over at this point. 3 letters in the chat said, you know, we want to go back to the 18, 19 years. It's probably, like, you know, simmering over at this point. ESIC have had unprecedented levels of cheat to deal with because something wrong I've seen ever since we went online. There's something wrong with it. Yeah, exactly. Like, as I said over, we have no fucking ethics, okay? We have no fucking ethics. Because everyone's like, you know, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And then, you know, at the end of it, they'll be like, what happened to our scene? No one's sponsoring me. Blah, blah, blah. I gotta go back to work. It's like, yeah, because you fucking killed it by looking after yourself before anyone fucking else. Like, it's a collaborative effort. Like, let's just say, for example, okay? I know reckless is reckless here when I mention collaborative effort because that would be quite funny because there was a meme about the NFL about collaborative effort. But, you know, let's just think about it, okay? Like, let's talk about Content Creator of the Year, okay? Valkyrie, okay? She won Content Creator of the Year today. Do you think she did that all herself? No, it's a collaborative effort from her friends, from her family, from her editors, from everyone. You know? She thanked literally everyone that helped her out. So she thanked, you know, offline TV. It's a collaborative effort to go through it. And that's what it's going to take for the CSGO scene. It can't be just by me. Doesn't get you anywhere. It gets you just one person doing a thing. To get everyone doing a thing, you got to make sure that everyone's got the same goal in mind. It's an ethical kind of concern. You don't want you want a community of people making it a sport, fun, money, everything's involved, and growing the scene overall. You don't want like 2% of the scene making all the money because they're trying to grift the other players out of money and treating it like a zero-sum game. You want to grow the pie, not take more of the pie. So he calls it the coaches who are talking about players' rights when they rob and steal from them. He also said more coach bans are coming as well. And that, yeah, I kind of agree with this as well. I'm surprised that some coaches have jobs. I'm willing to forgive, like, you know, one coach for like a grievances and stuff like that, like doing it once and that's it. And they report the bug. I have no idea how Zona has a fucking job. Okay? I said this. No idea. That guy shouldn't be anywhere near a CSGO team. I think it was 2 months, he cheated at least multiple times, 18 times. That's not what we want in our scene. I couldn't care less if he got permabanned, okay? Like, there's some other ones as well, like, maybe Lord that once off. It's been 2 years ago. Maybe a bit of forgiveness. Maybe. Just be like, okay, did it once, ages ago. He learnt better. He put his hand up. As long as they commit to not doing any cheat again, the next cheat they find up, they report. And I guess maybe a suspended sentence could be in order as well. Like, maybe okay, we'll have given you a 3-month ban, but if you promise to be whistleblower, teach players, respectable and ethical behavior, we'll suspend the sentence. Okay? But if we find you scumming it up again, 3 months is going to get added to your ban. That kind of flexibility with the punishment regime. So we're not just blindly punishing people for 9-12 month bans, because that's not going to help the scene at all. In certain circumstances, there's got to be some versatility to it as well. So they're doing it on a certain crew while 3 continents worth of match fixing, Steam Prologue says. They're doing this half a dozen people. They don't have any money or any help. People cooperate with them. Yeah, to be fair though, I'm going to tell you now, no one cooperates with the police as well. So you can't really complain about that, because no one cooperates with the police either. Like, it's not a new thing. So, you can't be like, they don't even work with CSPA. Oh, not CSPA, ESIC. It's like, yeah, I don't think many people work with the police that well either. But I can understand, because someone could go, like, cops are trying to get convictions, ACAP and all that stuff like that. But in general, the less you say to the cop is the better, because they got to prove that you're guilty as well. And what he's trying to say is the ethical thing that people aren't helping ESIC out to really enforce this. And he's trying to reiterate, Richard, that ESIC is the lifeblood of our scene. And he's correct about it. But I'm just saying, from my point of view, like, you don't talk to the police that often, because sometimes they try to, trap you into a crime. Now, it's basically, what is it all for me? He doesn't understand why CSPPA popping on ESIC. I have no idea either, because ESIC's trying to clean up the scene. So stream sniping, they're all doing it. They're all cheating. They're all using exploits. Bit of a sensationalism here. There's no integrity from Dead. Yeah, he did a Shaggy. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Even though it's fucking, like, you can see his face watching the blast stream. Like, jeez. Suddenly, basically, what happened was that ESIC was going to go in to ban MIPR. Then they found out, like, it was 10 out of the 15 top teams that were doing it. And ESIC's just like, oh, we can't do this. So ESIC got everyone in with all the TOs and said, you can't do this shit. If you do this shit, we'll start banning. And the teams brushed us off. That MIBR team that wasn't involved, it was the new MIBR team. Flashpoint is just like, hey, 10,000 fine. You do it again, we DQ. That's what they said, okay? That's good, okay? And then ESIC said, no tolerance. Okay? And I kind of agree with Richard here, because a lot of people got pissed off, including myself, that, that they weren't enforcing the bans. I understood that you can't ban the top 10 teams, but I was just said, find them. Just find them, okay? Fine them. Just give them fines. 20 to 30k fine. Fund it into ESIC's bank account, okay? Just do that. I'm not even sure if it's legal. Probably isn't legal. But you should put something like that in there, okay? Like, if you get penalized by an ESIC charge, you put money to ESIC. And yeah, this is the thing. He points out the biggest ethical thing, as I've been highlighting a lot, including the coaching bug, is that players have no integrity and they do anything for an edge, as long as they won't get detected or banned within a grey area. So in other words, like, if it's a grey area, they're like, I'll do it anyway. Fuck the scene. Me. It never ends well, okay? Yes, it was avoidable. This is 2020 hindsight vision, okay? Hindsight's always 2020. You kind of, hope that players on it, they wouldn't do that, okay? Like, you kind of hope they wouldn't do that. So, yeah. How many years have we pillage, gambling skins, betting is this from blown out from COD, greedy stuff. Never forget a T Martels in the Born of Envy and CSGO Lotto. I wasn't here for that kind of stuff with skin bettings. But I know one of my streamer friends who was, playing CSGO back in the days that they were doing skins gambling all the time. And I don't think they promoted any sites, but they were getting a lot of viewers from, just rolling on skins and gambling with people and stuff like that. So not exactly the first time, to be doing CSGO surfing in between the gambling sessions and stuff like that. And so what would happen is that this is the thing this is why, just in case you're wondering, even Simple scammed Knives and players or fans. Good thing that Simple's really turned it around, hopefully. And also there's a lot of off-the-book sponsorships. MBK promoted them. People forget. Yeah, like a lot of people forget who promoted some of these, scam skin betting orgs, I guess. I'm not terribly too sure. I wasn't there back then, okay? Like, I wasn't here in CSGO back then in 2017. I was just a guy playing WoW. Well, I was actually watching the games, okay? So this is what I get concerned about, okay? This is what I tell younger players, okay? Do not fall into this, okay? Do not fall and go, oh, I'll give you this new skin that you can use in tournaments. Oh, by the way, you have to tip us. We gave you that skin. So what's the news about the game? Don't. Just don't. Okay? This is the scenario that happens every time, okay? Let me just reiterate, it happens every time. Person comes in, use this skin. Oh yeah, basically, thanks for using this. Thanks for the skin, man. It looked really, really awesome. Oh, by the way, Bob is not playing in the team anymore. He really hates his team. And they're skin betters, okay? And they set the odds that Bob's team's gonna win their favorites and the other team wins. Because no one knew that Bob hated his team so much. And this is what I'm talking about here, okay? That's what I'm talking about, okay? Players, if you are listening, which I'm not sure, beware of these kinds of people, because this is what they're doing, okay? Because some people are very sus, they're not legitimate, they're trying to make a quick buck. And that's how they do it. They try to get into your good books. They hope you can, hand pass them a little tidbit of information, and they work it accordingly. Just don't get sucked in. It's breaking unnecessary risks, by the way, okay? Because it's assumed you know inside information. Read Unnecessary Risks by Valve again and again and again and again. Don't get exposed by this stuff. It's exactly how they operate, okay? People have been trying to get it off me as well with inside information and stuff like that. And I just tell them, I've only got public information available for you. I'm not giving you any inside information. And if there's any information that hasn't been announced, it is announced way before the game. Way before the game. The tournaments, this is pretty disgusting. There's people trying to clean it up. I don't think it's that rife in Australia, but we'll see. And yeah, I gotta say, some people are a bit morons. Like, let's just say Steven, for example, he advertised that he bet on MDL in my chat. And yeah, I know who sent the chat logs to them. I 100% agree. I completely forgot to send those chat logs as well. There's a few ECA guys in my chat, and I'm just sitting there going like, okay, they'll record that. Okay, like, you can't do that. Like, as I told many people, it's not my position to adjudicate that, but you should never ever, nah. He says the scumbags who've gone to Valorant will do the same there if Riot doesn't do something. Valorant's already heading to a fairly full based on the sheer amount of scumbags already there. Tier 2 in a nutshell, they know they're going to play major, so what's the punishment? Blah, blah, blah. These guys with organized criminals fixed... Oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm literally told that their players fixing games at all levels of Chinese esports, and these guys... Oh, damn, that's pretty violent. Yeah, we have lost NA, and I think we can just go on about this. You guys can look at the thing later, but this really, encompasses the entire scene overall, and what's, realistically what we could do to protect it. Now, overall... I gotta wrap this thing up because I've been talking for almost an hour. So, Surge leaves Forze, and I'm not sure what led up to this because there's no, thing that's gonna say, hey, looks like he's gonna leave. But, I know Forze have been down in the dumps, and, they haven't really qualified for anything. So, I'm not totally too sure what is going on at the moment. And, that we're not totally too sure what's going to happen. Like, apparently, Warrior 2K Forrester's going to be in the team for Almaza and FaceCrack, but not totally too sure what's going to be going on. And last but not least, which is a bit sad as well, one of the more dedicated Australian CSGO managers or operations managers, Nathan, which is in Vay, has decided to quit, and that's a bit sad as well. You know, just ending on some sad news there. So Order losing their, you know, general operations manager, and you know it's gonna be a lot of miss because you know there's already 2 players from Order leaving, being Spawn being one of them, and Invade being the other. And I'm just wondering, you know, what's going to come out of Order here and what's going to keep going here. I just hope Almaze and FaceCrack did find a new team and left Forze. We'll see if they've left Forze or not. Like, you know, that's what will happen today. My kind of last message about everything about like CSGO related and stuff like that is that, yeah, we need an ethics change. Like we don't have, like, this is the thing, we don't have ethical standards in CSGO. There needs to be ethical standards in CSGO. It needs to be drafted up because it's going to be coming to a point where people are going to think that people just rig everything in here. They were all a bunch of riggers. This is, you know, this scene scam artist. You're not going to get a fair go here. Why sponsor it? Like, you know, it's just sponsoring bad practices. Don't want it here. We really need to take a hard look at ourselves. Player Association needs to take a look at themselves as well, make sure they represent all players. Players themselves need to hold themselves accountable. Don't fall into the traps. Don't fall, you know, don't be like, oh, you can borrow our skin here, and oh, by the way, what's the inside tip for this? Don't fall for that, okay? And not them getting kicked because they didn't want to be that bug abuser. Or to be fair, I'm not sure what Surge did, but you know, Surge leaving the team could be maybe something to do with that as well. I just can't believe Zona's got a spot, and I can't believe some of the coaches that, well, still have spots. I think Casalele went to Valorant, so he's coaching Valorant now. I think a lot of the coaches that were banned by ESIC have gone to Valorant because they need to work at the end of the day, and Valorant just welcomed them with open arms because like it's like, hey, you got more people from CSGO, easy pickings. But yeah, that's going to be it for Chilltime with Jose. I don't have the engine to keep going for 3 hours about CSGO. Wish I did. But yeah, subscribe below. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. For a like, for a retweet on the tweet when I tweeted it out. And I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, we got some better news in CSGO scene. Hopefully, some people have buckled up, shaped up. And, you know, we got Paradise in the future. Or building up in the future. So see you guys for now. If you guys are on my Twitch live stream, there'll be some content afterwards. I'll be doing the more today than going to Mythic Pluses. I forgot to do the more in the morning. I only did like 2 tiers worth. So I want to just get that done and dusted quickly. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming in. And if you guys enjoyed this YouTube vid, sub to me on YouTube. If you guys didn't, then I don't know why you're here. And see you guys later. Peace out.